Hey everyone, welcome to Nightmare at 3 a.m. Before we begin, if you enjoy scary stories, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who also enjoys that chilling feeling. Also, drop a comment below telling me what time you're watching this. There's always someone watching in the middle of the night, and I love reading your comments. Now, without further delay, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and get ready. Tonight's stories are true, and they might make you think twice before going to sleep. This happened about 3 weeks ago, I think. I know I should remember the exact date, but the days out there blended together in a strange way. Maybe it was between May 10th and 13th, I'm not sure. Time in the desert does that to your head, and to the rest of your body if you're not careful. My name is Lucas, I'm 31, and I work as an environmental technician. More specifically, surface geology and risk analysis in arid soils. It's more bureaucratic than it sounds, but sometimes they send me to places way off the radar. This was one of those times. I was hired by a sanitation company to evaluate a region near Carrizozo, New Mexico. The place was dry, flat, and so forgotten that not even cell maps knew the name of the access road. According to the preliminary report, there might be chemical leakage from a deactivated mine from the 1970s. I thought it would be one of those trips where I'd spend 3 days alone in a trailer, jotting down numbers and falling asleep to the sound of the wind. And that was exactly what I wanted. After my sister died earlier this year, I started avoiding people, not out of anger, out of exhaustion. Grief is a strange kind of constant noise. Solitude for me is where the volume goes down a bit. I arrived at the base on a hot afternoon. The trailer was already set up, powered by solar energy and a ham radio. No cell signal. A simple fence surrounded the area, and a faded sign read, Zone 7, Temporary Containment. Temporary since 1976, apparently. The first night went fine. I ate canned food, read some notes, reviewed printed topographic maps. I fell asleep to the constant hum of heat leaving the trailer's metal frame. But the second night, I noticed something missing. There was no sound, nothing. Zero. No wind, no insects, not even the usual creaks from the metal panels. It was like someone had hit pause on the world. I woke up with a dry mouth, sat on the bed, and looked around. There were no lights outside. Everything was black. In the morning, I saw strange markings on the ground right near the fence. Small circles, like something metallic had been spun against the sand. I thought of wild boars or old equipment shifted by heat. I took photos, measured the depth, a few millimeters, and went on with that day's sampling. But when I returned to the trailer in the late afternoon, I noticed something else. I had left the front door closed. I've had this habit since I was a kid, triple checking before I sleep or leave, but the door was ajar. Maybe I forgot, or maybe not. That's when I started getting unsettled. On the third night, I heard my name. It wasn't loud, it wasn't direct. It was like someone whispered from far away, but not through the air, through the ground. I felt the vibration before I registered the sound. Lucas, 3 times. With long pauses, I thought I was dreaming, or that the heat had dehydrated me into confusion. I drank 2 glasses of water, took a breath, and wrote in my notebook, possible auditory hallucination, monitor. But the next morning, there were new marks, now inside the fence. I climbed a nearby elevation to try using the radio. Nothing. just static. Tried the manual GPS, no satellite. I returned to the trailer already with that familiar sense that something was wrong, though I didn't know what. On the fourth night, I recorded audio, left a recorder running outside. When I listened in the morning, all I heard was wind. But between 3:12 and 3:14, there's a sound I can't explain, like one stone hitting another in rhythmic intervals, like a code, like it was intentional. I followed a thought of Werner Herzog, who said, "The desert is not a place for the human soul. It's where silence screams louder than thought." That last night, I slept with my boots on and my backpack ready. I still don't know why, but part of me knew I couldn't stay. And that part was right. I woke up to a sharp crack, like stone splitting from extreme heat. I jumped out of bed in the dark and pressed my ear to the metal wall. Silence. But I felt a faint tremor in the floor, almost like the ground was breathing. I opened the door slowly. The air was cold, much colder than it should have been for that time of night. I grabbed the flashlight and scanned around. The marks had increased, not just circles now, parallel lines like extended scratches running from the fence to the side of the trailer. That's when I saw the recorder still where I had left it. The red light was blinking, still on, but the recording had stopped at 3:17. "Card error," the screen said. I grabbed my notebook and tried to recall the knock sequence from the night before. I tapped the desk with my finger, copying the pattern. Pause, short pause, 3 knocks, another pause, 1 knock. I closed my eyes. The same sequence played in my memory, but there was something else, not a sound, a feeling like the stone was answering, like each knock was an echo of something buried or alive. I went to the trailer cabinet and found an old folder. It was wedged behind the back panels, probably forgotten by another tech. Inside was a notepad with H. Moreno, handwritten on the front. I read the pages in silence. The handwriting got shakier as the pages went on. The last entry simply read, "Knocks continue. Always at 3:12. They only started after I heard my name. I haven't seen anything, but I'm not sure I'm the first one being called." That night, I couldn't sleep. I didn't take off my boots. I didn't turn off the lights. I waited. When the clock hit 3:10, I grabbed the pad and drew 3 concentric circles, impulsively. Something I'd seen in the dirt scribbles, something that now appeared in Moreno's notebook too. The sound returned, 3 knocks, pause, 2 knocks, silence. This time, I answered. I knocked back. Not out of courage, out of necessity. It felt like staying silent would be worse. The reply came faster, so strong the trailer walls vibrated. I jumped up, grabbed my backpack, and ran. I headed away from the fence, following one of the grooves in the soil. I wasn't sure if I wanted to escape or understand, but when I reached the top of a dune, I turned around and I saw it. Something rising from the earth. I can't describe it. It was a low shape, like a column of stone breathing, pulsing. It emitted a solid sound, a sound that didn't travel through the air. It came from inside me. I started crying without knowing why. And that's when I realized, maybe the earth isn't just old and empty. Maybe it's an ear, a record. Maybe everything we say, think, or bury keeps echoing down there. I wish I could say I ran, that I got away and life went back to normal. But the truth is, I stopped. I didn't run anymore. Something told me distance wouldn't matter. I slowly returned to the trailer at sunrise. The marks in the dirt were gone like they'd never been there. The walls were cold to the touch. The recorder still showed an error. But Moreno's notebook, it was open to a different page. In large, shaky handwriting, it said, "Only those who've been heard can still listen." I stared at that for too long. I started to wonder if the replies I heard were ever meant for me, or if I just inserted myself into a conversation I was never supposed to hear. Like someone intercepting a millennia-old whisper and thinking it was their name being called. The GPS signal returned for 2 minutes at noon. I used that time to ping my location to the next contact, as protocol required, and shut everything off. I didn't report anything. I didn't explain. I took the company truck and drove away. On the way back, I realized I had gotten used to the absolute silence. The city felt too loud. I missed the dry earth and the still air. I found myself tapping the steering wheel, repeating that dumb little knock sequence. 3 knocks, pause, 2, silence. I never returned to that job. Told them I had a panic attack and needed leave. No one questioned it, but ever since then, almost every night, I wake up at 3:12, even far away, even at home. And even when I don't hear anything, I knock back. I don't know what it means, but I know there are things we think we only live once, and others we never stop living. They keep reverberating, like the sound of a knock inside a stone, like grief we never buried properly, like everything the world pretended to forget, but the desert still hears. This happened earlier this year, late February, I think. I was running long hauls at the time, freelance transport, mostly medical equipment or sealed crates. Nothing dramatic. Pick up here, drop off there. I didn't ask what was inside. Didn't matter. All I cared about was gas money and not getting pulled over. My name's Eric. I'm 25. Been doing this kind of work since I dropped out of college 3 years ago. Not because I had some deep hatred for academia or whatever. I just didn't see the point of going into debt to sit in lecture halls when I could make money on the road. I was coming out of Las Cruces, headed to Dallas. Late night haul, quiet roads, nothing I hadn't done before. I had a cooler of energy drinks, gas station beef jerky, and an old Bluetooth speaker duct taped to the dash. The first few hours were normal, just me, the empty road, and a couple of crackly AM stations when the playlist got stale. Somewhere around 2 a.m., near the Texas border, my GPS beeped and rerouted. Said there was a highway accident ahead. I didn't see anything, no lights or flares, but I figured, whatever, it's happened before. The reroute wasn't drastic, just some smaller highway that looped back into the main one. The only weird thing was that I didn't recognize the name. County Road 2883. I've been through West Texas plenty, and this road didn't ring any bells. Still, I took the exit. Figured it was just some back route to shave time. Right away, the road felt off. Not in a spooky way, just weirdly familiar. Same flat terrain, same leaning telephone poles every few hundred yards. But something about it felt like I'd been there. That itch in the back of your head when you're almost sure you've dreamed a place before. Then came the mile marker, a small green sign, mile 13. I kept driving, 10, maybe 15 minutes. Then another sign, mile 13. I slowed down, thinking I'd misread the first one, but no. Same font, same number. Same bullet holes through the metal. I even looked in the rear view. First sign was gone, like it had never been there, just desert. 5 minutes later, another mile 13. That's when I pulled over. I stepped out, stretched, lit a cigarette. Cold wind, even colder silence. No bugs, no coyotes, just me, my truck, and the road. I looked back down the asphalt, completely empty. Then I saw headlights up ahead. Car was parked on the shoulder, hood up, one tire flat. Looked like a silver Nissan. I drove up slow, thinking maybe someone needed help. When I got closer, I saw a woman in the driver's seat, slouched against the window like she'd fallen asleep. I honked lightly, no response. I stepped out and knocked on the window. Nothing, just her, face turned away, breathing slow like she was deep out. I thought maybe I should call someone, but my phone had no service, of course. I got back in the truck, drove on, figured someone else would come through eventually. 10 minutes later, another silver Nissan. Same model, same damage, same flat tire, same woman. I didn't stop this time. I stared as I passed. Her head was turned slightly more toward me now. Her eyes were closed. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like she was pretending. I turned the radio up, flipped through static until I found a Spanish station. Anything to drown out the tension curling in my chest. That's when the radio cut off and switched to an open channel. Just static. Then a voice. "Are you the one driving the white truck?" I froze, looked down. My CB wasn't even on. I didn't respond. Didn't touch anything. After 10 seconds of silence, the voice came again. "Eric." I swear to God, it said my name, my full name. Same flat tone like someone testing a mic. I pulled over hard, turned everything off, sat in the dark for what felt like an hour. No more voices, no more static, just wind. Eventually, I turned the truck back on and drove. Mile 13, again. That was the last straw. I checked my fuel gauge, nearly full, but I didn't remember stopping for gas at all. And in the passenger seat, sitting on the floor where I usually keep my maps, was a cassette tape. I don't own a tape deck. I picked it up. Someone had written on the label in faded ink, "Play at 3:12. I checked the time. It was 3:09. I don't know what I expected. Maybe a voice, maybe nothing. But I waited. At 3:12 exactly, I slid the tape into the portable player I'd rigged for music years ago. It had a tape slot I'd never used. I hit play, at first just hissing, then footsteps, slow, measured, on gravel or broken asphalt. Then a voice, not mine, not a stranger's, someone I knew, my brother. "Eric," it said, "you've been here before." Only, that's not possible. My brother died last year, motorcycle accident outside San Angelo. I went to the funeral. I saw the body, but it was his voice. The little hitch in his throat when he was nervous. The dry humor even in short sentences. The tape continued, "You don't remember because you're not supposed to." Then silence. Then the sound of an engine, my engine, a turn signal clicking, and then the same static from the radio, followed by a garbled, distant sound of tires on dirt. Then it rewound on its own and ejected. 3:18 a.m. That's when the lights behind me flared on. A car, same shape as before, silver, approaching slowly. I didn't wait to see if it would stop. I threw the truck into gear and took off, pedal down. I didn't care if I hit a bump or blew a tire. I just needed to move. 5 minutes later, another mile marker, mile 13. I screamed, slammed the steering wheel. I looked down at my hands, and for a second, they weren't mine. The knuckles were wrong. The skin tone, the small tattoo I got when I was 17, was gone. I blinked. It was back. I kept driving. Then I saw something I shouldn't have. A gas station, middle of nowhere, lit up like a scene from the 90s. Neon sign blinking open. Pump handles hanging loosely like they'd been caught mid-service. No movement inside, no cars. But the door was open. I pulled in. As soon as I stepped out, the lights inside flickered. Then I heard it, that voice again, from the intercom. Come inside. I don't know why I did. Maybe I was hoping someone in there could break this, explain it, end it. Inside was a single aisle, shelves filled with snacks that looked decades old, and at the back counter, a tape recorder playing. I walked to it, pressed stop, but it didn't stop. The voice came again, this time clear. You are the echo, Eric, not the original. I didn't answer the tape recorder. I don't think I could have, even if I wanted to. My mouth was dry, my chest felt tight, like something invisible was wrapped around me. The recorder whirred once and stopped by itself. A click, then silence. I turned around. The store was empty, but somehow it felt crowded, like a presence that didn't care if I saw it or not, just watched. That's when I noticed the mirror behind the counter. It wasn't reflecting me. I walked closer. I waved. Nothing. The mirror showed the store, but no Eric. Just the aisle, the shelves, the door behind me, and a shape, a blur where I should have been. I turned. Nothing there. The intercom crackled once more. Your exit is where you forgot it. I bolted out the door, back to the truck. The sky had started to lighten, the pale blue haze that comes before dawn. I turned the ignition. It started, but the dashboard clock blinked. 3:12. Still, I drove fast. Faster than I should have. For the first time, the mile marker was different. Mile 12, then another. Mile 11. Something had changed, or I had. I didn't stop. Not when I saw the silver car one last time in the mirror. Not when I passed a sign that said, "Welcome to New Mexico," even though I never turned around. I just drove until the gas light came on and then further. Eventually, the sun came up. I reached a diner I knew near Roswell. People were there, eating, talking, real. I ordered black coffee, hands still shaking. The waitress asked if I was okay. I told her I'd taken a weird route, that I must have gotten turned around. She smiled. Happens more than you think out here. Later, in the bathroom, I checked my reflection. It was me, tattoo and all. I splashed water on my face and said my name out loud. Eric, just to be sure. And yet, even now, weeks later, I keep thinking about what that voice said. You are the echo. What if we don't always come back from certain places fully? What if part of us stays behind, on a loop, playing out like a signal in the desert, waiting to be heard again? I wonder if I left something of myself back there, or if something else came back pretending to be me. I don't know what County Road 2883 is, but if your GPS ever reroutes you onto it in the middle of the night, don't take it. Not unless you're ready to find out who or what you've always been. This happened 3 weeks ago. I was driving back from Flagstaff after a gallery showing, exhausted, head pounding, and too proud to admit I should have booked a hotel earlier. There was a sandstorm warning, but I figured I could beat it. I didn't. Around 11:30 p.m., visibility dropped to nothing. I pulled off the road near an old faded sign, Dry Creek Motel, vacancy. Neon letters barely lit, no other cars in the lot. The office was unlocked. A man in a collared shirt stood behind the counter, polite, quiet. His eyes never quite met mine. Just one night? Yeah. He handed me a key, old school, brass tag, chipped paint, room 3. The room smelled like dust and fabric softener. The kind of clean that's been sitting still for too long. One queen bed, beige carpet, CRT television, and a mirror. The mirror was huge, wall length, framed in peeling brass. Directly across from the bed, I made a face, thought about covering it, then decided I was too tired to care. Showered, ate half a protein bar, checked my phone, no service, tried the motel Wi-Fi, no signal, laid down and stared at the ceiling. That's when I noticed it. The reflection was slow, not dramatically, just a fraction off. My blink in real time, then my blink in the mirror, like a video with lag. I sat up, turned my head fast. The mirror followed, but always a beat behind. I laughed nervously, told myself it was exhaustion, rolled to my side and pulled the blanket up. At exactly midnight, the TV turned on, volume muted, screen full of static. Then it shifted. Footage, black and white, grainy, a fixed angle showing the room, my room, from high in the corner where no camera existed. It showed me lying there. I sat up. On screen, I also sat up. But in the footage, my face was still, expressionless, staring at something I couldn't see. And behind me on the screen, just barely in the frame, was a second figure, dark, standing in the corner where the mirror was. I turned. Nothing there. I looked back at the TV. It was off. I don't remember turning it off. I grabbed my keys, my bag, and bolted, ran outside. The lot was full now. Cars lined up facing the motel, engines off, headlights off, and every single one had someone in the driver's seat, staring at me. I turned and ran back toward the office. It was locked. No lights, no sign of the man from earlier. Back in the room, I slammed the door shut, breathing hard. The mirror showed me entering, only I was already inside. I followed the thought of Shirley Jackson, who said, "No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality." I'm still not sure if I left that motel. Some nights I wake up and it's dark and there's static where the sound should be, and I swear the mirror blinks before I do. If you made it this far, then some part of you knows. Not all trails end when the path runs out. And for that, thank you for listening all the way through. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It helps this project grow and keeps the stories coming. And now, I want to hear from you. Which story hit you the hardest? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. The woods may forget your footsteps, but those who listen never forget the sound. I'll see you in the next episode.